Hey guys, good afternoon. This is your Texas mortgage expert here at New American Funding. And today I have with me a couple of my good friends, Harley David Walters. I also know him as Dave with Texas Custom Credit Repair. He is a credit repair specialist, been in the industry for about 15 years.
Correct.
His company has also been one of the top rated companies by the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce multiple times during that time. Also, we have Stephen Hernandez with Real Broker, who's here with us today, and we're going to share with you some questions and answers and ideas on what you can do if credit happens to be an issue and you're taking the next step towards buying a home. So, guys, based off of credit that you've encountered both in your professional lives as a realtor and as credit repair specialist, what have you all encountered the most? With customers and clients looking to buy, what happens that they don't take that next step because of credit, and what can we do to help?
So the most common things I'm seeing is when people are relocating, whether it be when they're in the military, especially here in San Antonio with so many military people that we've been helping over the years. You'll see people I make a living, unfortunately, off of unreturned cable boxes, canceled gym memberships, cell phones. It's not necessarily broken leases, but it shows up almost as a broken lease because somebody may have repairs that needed to be done. They spilled Kool-Aid on the carpet at the house. So they have maybe a past due bill at their previous apartment complex. So sometimes that'll hold people back as well. But other times it's just life has happened, right? And unfortunately, people go through different life circumstances, divorces, medical issues, or job transitions, and that's where Stephen and I have also been able. He's helped a lot of customers that we've sent or he sent to us. Then we've been able to send back recently and have closings where they've gone through previous transitions. 2020. Big shock for a lot of independent business owners, and we've helped a lot of independent business owners as well. And sometimes it's debt to income ratio issues where collections are impacting their ability to qualify for their next mortgage and moving forward. So very different clients. It depends on all walks of life. So when it comes to credit, Steve, what do you?
So they get their scores from Credit Karma, and they think that their scores are much higher than they actually are. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that, unfortunately. And then just people are closing accounts, people are doing what they see on TikTok and Instagram and what's clickbait.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned a couple of things. If I could put in my expertise, I guess you could say. So, one thing you mentioned is collection accounts. That's true. Open collection accounts are not charged off. They actually, up to $2,000 or less, will be allowed to be eliminated. But if it's over $2,000, we are required to take 5% of those outstanding collection balances as an additional arbitrary debt. We're required to by FHA, VA, conventional. So there's really not much we can do about it. If you have more than $2,000 in collection accounts, those are things that David could help you remove or pay off, agree for settlement to get a reduced payment and things of that nature. So that would be really great. And then also you mentioned about the Vantage scores that people are seeing on Credit Karma, maybe even a credit card statement or the bank statement. Those Vantage scores are similar concept to a FICO score, but their formula is a little bit different and often more favorable to the consumer, making the scores higher. So if you're looking at those scores and seeing your score 650 or higher, you probably still have a good opportunity to buy a home. But what we use is called a mortgage FICO score, a FICO 5 typically. And those scores will be lower. But again, if they're in that 650 range, I think they're probably pretty close to being where they need to be on a FICO. But if you're not, once we've pulled your score, we then can see what the next steps are to get you where you need to be to buy your home. But you can't let credit be a stopping point for you to move forward, especially if you want to buy a home. I can tell you one thing, interest rates may come down a little bit over the next few years, but housing prices in our area are definitely not coming down. The demand for housing in San Antonio, Bexar County, and Texas is very strong. People coming in from not only across the state, but across the country and internationally as well. So a lot of housing pressure driving up those prices. Buy now, use the equity to refinance 3 or 4 years down the road. So
one of the good things you mentioned, the credit scores, it's so confusing, right? Because you can go to your car dealership, the car dealer is going to give you the credit score model
Right.
that they're looking at, which happens to be
Much
a
higher.
credit. Well, it depends. You and I have put people in a home because they get a 620 or higher on your mortgage score. But let's say they've had a previous repossession 5 years ago, 6 years ago,
Right.
and it's a charge off. And again, a charge off that's a repo 5 years ago. It's a lower score impact at this point.
Right.
And it's not impacting their debt to income ratio, which is what you guys care about and your clients care about. How much can I qualify for on my home, right? So they may have a very low auto score, but a much higher mortgage credit score,
Right.
As well. The biggest variation that you'll see with Advantage 3.0, which is what Credit Karma uses, is anytime it's a medical bill, that's where the algorithms, the scoring is lower impact on Advantage 3.0 versus a mortgage credit score.
Great. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Isn't there supposed to be something going on that was passed possibly by Congress to make that adjustment as well on FICO scores with medical bills? What's the
That's
status
on
on
Advantage. That's on Advantage.
Only
10,
Advantage. Okay, so it's
10 model, and there are laws that took place back in 2020. Luckily, where now the good thing is, and you may remember, you and I have been working together since 2010
Right.
when I very first got into the business. But I used to have to negotiate for a deletion
right.
on a medical bill. Well, now after 2020, we can still do a settlement for a medical bill and save them money, but they're now required to delete it from the credit bureau. Whereas before,
And that will
SARMA
also occur on FICO and the mortgage
correct
rate as well?
all three, and that's the big change. And then one of the other changes is if the bill is under $1,000, they're not allowed to just put it on there right away like they used to.
Right.
There's now a time frame in which they have to wait before they're allowed to put it on. I believe it's 1 year for the time frame, but again, they're making some more
Yeah,
regulation
so they give the
changes.
consumer an opportunity to maybe make a payment plan or something to get it taken care of before they start hitting you on your credit report.
Right, we've
That's
seen
good.
in some of the credit pulls before. I had one of my veterans. They had changed his copay for his doctor's appointment, and so he had a $25 bill times 6, so 6 collections. He went down over 180 points, and he owed less than $150.
Wow.
But it was 6 different individual collections from the same doctor. I mean, how many times are you going to see the same patient and go, "Come on in, Steve.
Yeah,
come on
they
in,
keep
Steve."
charging- yeah.
That's 6 months worth of visits, right, on
Yeah.
average, and then sending to collections with SARMA all at once. Boom, he drops. So we do see things like that. A new big thing that's been happening recently, as of February of this year, is, as you know, is the student loans. And we've, with the one big beautiful bill that just recently passed, July 4th, there's been some major changes to that. But again, all the students that were deferred, there were, I believe, 4.2 million loans that were deferred. And all of a sudden, February of 2025, this year, boom, they are now due, and they're more than 90 days past due.
Right. So you're
correct?
speaking of COVID deferments, correct?
Those are some
Primarily.
of them. That's where they were automatically deferred, is during the COVID timeframe. And then all of that came off as of school starting last year, right around the same time frame. So as of February of this year, we started to see the 90-day lates, then 120. So we've actually found a way to be able to fight that and be able to get those removed as well too. It's on a case-by-case scenario, not blanket statement. I haven't found a way to get rid of student loans. You know, we'd be hooking your son up as well as mine, and getting those, and your kids on the way, right? Being able to write those. There's no magic letter, guys, with credit repair. That's the biggest thing I want to say is there's no magic beans. Nowhere on TikTok. There's no video. And if y'all do see one and there's some magic letter out there, please get in contact with me and I'll buy a boat, and it's going to be called "I Paid $1." Ask me how, right?
Yeah.
Steve and I have always wanting to go fishing, and Curtis, you can come with us, man. But again, it's one of those things where there's no magic letter, right? Yeah. The commitment level with credit repair is just like going to a gym. It's just like fitness. I always make the joke, I have 2 gym memberships, LA Fitness and Planet Fitness, but I have no fitness because I don't go, right?
Yeah.
It's discipline, it's commitment, just like credit repair. So where we've seen clients recently where you've seen success We just had a family that, can you tell them about the family that had gone through tribulations here just recently with,
Yeah, so they were renting, and their landlord said, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to sell your house. You're going to have to find some place to live." And their credit wasn't the greatest. They had some collections they needed, to just really clean up their credit. And I got them connected with Harley, and I mean, talk about some magic beans, right? Like it was crazy how quickly you were able to fix some of their issues, and they had to put in the work, right? And I think that's the biggest part is we have to have clients know that you're not going to just wave a wand and it's going to disappear. They actually got to put in a little bit of work.
Yep. Absolutely, yeah. If they need credit repair, they need to take that first step, and we can help them do it. Exactly. So what happened with these folks?
10%, I think, was the first step. I met with them and said, look, you have to get your credit card balances at 10%. So in other words, if they had a $300 credit limit, $30 balance, right? Yeah. That was the first step.
Right. And the reason for that is utilization makes up about a third of your credit score. So that's one quick fix that you can do to help your credit is to pay down those credit cards. And you said, you have always told me 30%, but 10% is better.
30% is the overall impact. Like you said, it's 30% of your score. 10% is the ultimate goal. Yeah, so think about it when you're in school. Every 20% will drop your credit score. Think about it when you're in school. To be an A, you could be between 1% and 19% to be an A. But to be an A plus, when you want to buy your home, you want the best credit score, right? So you want between 1% and 10% to have the ultimate. So just to stay average, B is 30, right? But when you want to buy a home, you want to be A plus. We did that, and then we also did 2 quick settlements where they actually did have accurate collections, admitted that, yes, these are my collections. We were able to do a settlement for deletion on 2 accounts.
Awesome.
30 business days later, off the credit report, and away we go.
Yep.
That was the process.
Yeah, and then they, from I'm never going to own a house to, hey, I'm buying a house that I'm renting. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
They're absolutely closed
phenomenal.
a week ago. They're ecstatic. They're ecstatic.
And then, Stephen, tell them about the program that you put them in, the reimbursement program that you have with us. It's very unique.
Yeah, so what I found is when I connect them with Harley, sometimes they still don't pay the bill and they still don't sign up for the program and follow through. So I make it easy for them by reimbursing them at close. So they jump in, they pay for the service, and then at closing, my check's in the other room. I let them hold up this big check. And I'll go grab it here in a little bit, but it's a reimbursement. It's awesome. It's
so
fantastic.
Come to us, schedule an appointment. Just go to our website, texascustomcreditrepair.com, and then from there, just schedule as a free credit evaluation. We'll go through, do a soft inquiry, pull your credit with all 3 credit bureaus, look at it, meet with you for 20 to 45 minutes, break down your credit report with you, line item by line item. If you've already had a chance to pull with your mortgage lender will send that over to us, and then I'll compare that credit report with ours. If they've notified us and said, hey, Curtis said that there's a debt-to-income ratio issue on this one, we need to reduce and reduce by $300 DTI, good, I'll laser focus in on that. If we know how many points we need, we're going to take all that into account. We put you in a 4-month program. Hopefully we get you through faster. But 4-month program, then we send them back over and get them qualified with the lender. They go shopping with Steven, and then Steve gives them this big, beautiful reimbursement check right here.
Little something like this.
Yeah, this is a big, beautiful check.
Big, beautiful check. Yeah. But the family got to hold this at close with all their information on it and credit repair, reimbursement. It was fantastic. They were excited.
So I'm glad you mentioned the thing about medical co-payments and boxes for cable services and things like that, because those things will never, ever help you with your credit score. However, if you forget to pay them, you forget to return your equipment, you don't make your co-payment on a medical bill, you forgot to pay T-Mobile when you switch to Verizon, those will come back to haunt you probably in about 6 months. So those are a little more difficult to remove sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
It's
So I mean,
always right before we
But
close.
yeah, but those are the type of things that you need to pay. So they won't help you, but they will definitely hurt you. So don't let them become something that's inhibitive to you buying a house. Take care of them. If you know you just moved, make sure there's no additional payment left at your rental for cleanup or whatever. You returned all your equipment or you switched it to your new residence. You change phone services. Make sure you don't have any outstanding balance with the service that you're leaving. Same with any utilities. Stay on top of those. Be responsible because they won't typically advise you, but they will send you bills, right? But sometimes they get lost in the mail because you've moved and now your previous address is no longer your current address. So stay on top of those things because they can't help, but they definitely are prohibitive and hurt your credit scores when they're not paid.
great suggestion is we've all got this phone by our side. So when you're returning the boxes, take the video of the boxes being returned. Take a snapshot of that as well. When you're doing the final walkthrough, take the video, keep the video, upload it to your Google Drive or whatever drive you have. Save those. It could save you thousands of dollars later. Stephen, any final tips?
No, that's fantastic. Like recording things on your way out. Yeah, can't tell you how many times we see stuff and like that's not accurate. It's not accurate at all.
Yep.
I'll never forget when I moved out of my very first apartment. I was probably like 21 years old. I left a package of frozen bacon in my fridge, and they sent me a bill for cleaning it up.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever. I'll get around to it." And then I bought a house a few months later, and it sure popped up.
So it'll be a $250
exactly.
cleaning fee, then it'll be a $150 collection fee, then it'll be this, and next thing you know, it's $500
for a package of bacon. Yeah, it blows my mind.
And we certainly don't want to leave bacon behind.
No.
So anything you guys need, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I don't know if...
Yeah, absolutely. And if credit's been something that you've run into issues with in trying to buy a home, don't let it stop you. I assure you, if you take that first step with us, we'll help you get there, whether it takes 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Ideally 4 to 6 months, probably most of the time, right? But you need to take that first step because your credit oftentimes won't fix itself. Over time it will, but you don't have 2 to 7 years possibly to wait to buy a home. So take that first step with us, and we assure you we will help you get to that goal of home ownership. It's a very important thing to do, and we're here to help.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And just like our slogan says, we're always building credit for your future.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
God bless. Have a good day.
God bless.